Showbiz reporter Kinsey Schofield is with us now. A very good morning to you, Kinsey. This broke here last night. What's the reaction been like over in the United States? I remember so vividly that slow car chase, for example. It captivated people. This was the launch of 24-hour news, wasn't it?
95 million Americans tuned in at some point during that car chase that you just talked about. 150 million people stopping what they were doing to watch the televised verdict live. This wasn't when we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have Twitter. We all had to find a television somewhere in the world and stand in front of it when they announced that they had a verdict in this trial. You've gone over some of his accolades: an incredible football player, a charming movie star, the Hurt spokesperson. I mean, he really was Americans' golden boy. But reaction has been negative. Caitlyn Jenner tweeting good riddance. Caitlyn Jenner married to Kris Jenner and vacationed with OJ and Nicole. Nicole was Chris's very best friend. Controversial TV personality Mark Lamont Hill posting OJ Simpson was an abusive liar who abandoned his community long before he killed 2 people in cold blood. His acquittal for murder was the correct and necessary result of a racist criminal legal system, but he's still a monster, not a martyr, says Mark Lamont Hill. Prosecutor Marcia Clark sending her condolences to the Simpson family, and even Kato Kaeland, the guy that lived in the guest house, sending his condolences to all parties involved, including the victims' families.
I mean, the families say he died without penance.
I thought it was really sweet. Fred Goldman, Ron Goldman's father, saying, I'm not gonna choose today to remember OJ Simpson. I'm gonna choose today to remember the very brief life that my child had. And I used to see Fred around town. He worked in a store that I frequented. I saw him on an airplane one time. This man was so gentle and kind. And I described him almost as breakable, the way that he was just a delicate individual, but he just radiated love. And you saw that when the verdict was read. You saw that the way that he melted into his seat when that not guilty verdict was read. Just a really good human, and saying, I'm going to focus on the very brief life that my child had, this beautiful boy that he was so proud of, Ron Goldman.
And in 1995, let's remind ourselves, I had to do exactly this morning. In 95, he was acquitted of the murder of his former wife, Nicole Brown, and her friend. There was one part of that trial, wasn't there, about the glove, and it was whether gloves fitted. Just remind us about that.
So if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, was the famous line where, they had that was Johnny Cochran's famous line. They asked OJ to put the glove on in the middle of the trial. And of course, OJ's an actor. Of course, he's going to wiggle around, and he did a great job. And so that was, I don't think that was a key part when it came to the jury. I think that the defense did a great job of showing the shortcomings of the LAPD and showing that there was racist behavior within the LAPD. And a jury did not like the prosecution. They didn't like the LAPD, which were some of their key witnesses. And of course, they're going to lose this case, which, created such racial, racial hostility in the United States.
Kinsey, it was a semblant moment. We have a clip, actually, of that very moment. And I believe we do about the... Oh, we don't... that message, as you say, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, is a very strong message indeed.
I think it's one of the most memorable moments. I mean, it was an 11-month trial. That moment watched, by millions. And then the jury, Kinsey, just 4 hours of deliberations. I mean, really kind of quite extraordinary. And it shows how polarising the topic was when you look at, the number of people who came to watch the verdict, the number of people potentially protesting outside. I mean, the US justice system hadn't really seen a story like that, a celebrity and then put on trial in that way with so much at stake on the verdict.
Right. And now we have Johnny Depp. Now, everything kind of turns into this circus in the United States because of this specific trial. But just to go back to the glove for a second, remember OJ wrote a book called If I Did It. And then he recorded a special that was supposed to go in promotion for Fox with this book, If I Did It, a hypothetical book about if he had actually murdered Nicole and Ron. Now, there was so much outrage, they canceled the special, and the book was inevitably, they stopped circulation of the publishing. The Goldmans actually received the rights to that and minimized the I on it, or minimized the F on it, so it looked like I did it when they released it, and they added some verbiage inside. But in this special that was released, I believe in 2018 or 2008, OJ actually goes into the glove, and he keeps saying hypothetically, but unintentionally, sometimes throughout this interview that we inevitably see, he says, I don't remember dropping the glove, but I must have. And he kept saying, I don't remember. So I mean, how do you justify doing this interview, this book? I mean, a very almost shameless behavior after the death of these two people.
Kinsey, really good to talk to you. Thank